Your body is producing abnormal cells at this exact moment. While you're watching this content, your immune system is fighting a silent battle against cellular threats that could transform into something much larger. The difference between winning or losing this battle may lie in three specific foods that the pharmaceutical industry prefers you to ignore. In the next 13 minutes, you will discover how natural compounds present in these fruits can directly interfere with the life cycle of cancerous cells in less than 24 hours. And no, this is not theory. This is data from research published in international scientific journals. Stay until the end because I will reveal the exact dosage and form of consumption that studies use to obtain these results. Custard apple contains ananaceous acetogenins, a group of bioactive compounds that researchers from Purdue University identified as selective agents against cancerous cell lines. The mechanism is fascinating. These molecules block ATP production specifically in the mitochondria of cells with accelerated metabolism, which is exactly the profile of tumor cells. While healthy cells maintain their normal functioning, abnormal cells enter energetic collapse. A study published in the Journal of Natural Products demonstrated that custard apple extracts reduced cell viability of colon adenocarcinoma by up to 65% in 24 hours. Another scientific work showed significant inhibition in breast cancer lines resistant to conventional chemotherapeutics. The differential lies in cell activity. Acetogenins preferentially attack cells with high energy demand, sparing healthy tissues. But there is a crucial detail that few know. The concentration of acetogenins varies drastically between pulp and seeds. Phytochemical studies indicate that seeds concentrate up to 15 times more of these compounds than the edible part of the fruit. However, direct consumption of seeds is not recommended due to the presence of other alkaloids that can generate neurological toxicity when ingested in excess. The intelligent way to take advantage of the benefits involves preparing teas or controlled extracts of the pulp, consumed regularly as a preventive strategy. Researchers suggest the intake of 100 to 200 milliliters of aqueous extract of the pulp, obtained through low-temperature infusion to preserve thermosensitive compounds. Important, pregnant women and people with hypotension should avoid therapeutic consumption due to the pronounced vasodilator effect. Write in the comments which state you are watching from, so I can understand the regional availability of this fruit and create more targeted content for your region's reality. Pomegranate operates through a completely different mechanism. Its polyphenols, especially punicalagins and ellagic acid, demonstrated the capacity to induce apoptosis, programmed cell death, in multiple tumor lines. What makes this extraordinary is that healthy cells possess protection mechanisms against apoptosis induced by these compounds, while cancerous cells do not. Research from the University of California documented that pomegranate extract reduced PSA markers in patients with early-stage prostate cancer. PSA doubling time, a critical indicator of tumor progression, increased significantly in the group that consumed concentrated extract daily. Other studies showed inhibition of tumor angiogenesis, the process by which tumors develop new blood vessels to sustain their growth. Ellagic acid present in pomegranate interferes with specific cellular signaling pathways, particularly the NF-kappa B pathway, frequently hyperactive in cancerous cells. By modulating this pathway, pomegranate compounds reduce the expression of pro-inflammatory and pro-survival genes that keep abnormal cells alive even under oxidative stress. But here's the mistake that 90% of people make: consuming only pasteurized commercial juice. The pasteurization process degrades up to 70% of bioactive polyphenols. The white membrane that separates the seeds, called mesocarp, contains the highest concentrations of punicalagins, and most people discard this part. The evidence-based strategy involves consuming the entire fruit, including the white membranes, or preparing homemade cold extracts. Studies use dosages equivalent to 200 to 400 milliliters of fresh, unprocessed juice per day. To potentiate the absorption of liposoluble compounds consumed together with a small amount of healthy fat, some nuts or avocado are sufficient. Patients in oncological treatment should communicate with their oncologist before including therapeutic doses, as some pomegranate compounds may interact with medications metabolized by cytochrome P450. Soursop shares with custard apple the presence of acetogenins, but in distinct chemical profiles that broaden the spectrum of action. More than 100 different acetogenins have already been isolated from soursop, each with affinity for different cell lines. Research from the National Cancer Institute documented significant cytotoxic activity against lung, pancreas, and colon cancer cells. The mechanism of soursop acetogenins is multifaceted. Beyond mitochondrial blockage, these compounds inhibit NADH oxidase enzymes present in the plasma membrane of tumor cells, cutting alternative energy routes that some cancerous cells develop as a resistance mechanism. This is particularly relevant in tumors that have developed multiple drug resistance to conventional drugs. An in vitro study demonstrated that soursop extracts were 10,000 times more effective than adriamycin, a common chemotherapeutic, in reducing the growth of colon cancer cells. Another work showed metastasis inhibition in experimental models, suggesting that the compounds interfere not only with tumor growth, but also with dissemination capacity. Here is the knowledge that will separate you from 95% of people. The distribution of acetogenins varies drastically among leaves, pulp, seeds, and bark. Leaves concentrate the highest levels, followed by bark and seeds. The pulp, ironically the most consumed part, has the lowest concentrations. However, just like custard apple, direct consumption of leaves or seeds in high doses presents documented neurological risks. The intelligent approach involves light infusions of dried leaves, no more than 2 to 3 leaves per liter of water, or regular consumption of fresh pulp as a preventive measure. Studies with humans are still limited, but experimental protocols used extracts equivalent to 1 to 2 grams of dried leaf per day, divided into multiple doses. Individuals with Parkinson's or family history of the disease should avoid prolonged consumption due to alkaloid compounds present in the leaves that, in long-term studies, showed association with Parkinsonian symptoms. Guidance from an integrative health professional is fundamental before initiating any therapeutic protocol. Now comes the part that few professionals reveal: the synergy among these 3 foods. In vitro combination studies demonstrated that the association of pomegranate compounds with acetogenins produces an additive effect, in some cases synergistic, surpassing the effect of each isolated component. The probable mechanism involves multiple simultaneous attack pathways: energy blockage, apoptosis induction, angiogenesis inhibition, and inflammatory modulation. A preventive protocol based on evidence could include 200 milliliters of fresh pomegranate extract in the morning, a portion of custard apple or soursop pulp in the afternoon period, and light soursop leaf tea 3 times a week. This rotation ensures constant exposure to different classes of bioactive compounds without overloading specific metabolic pathways. For people in oncological follow-up, transparent communication with the medical team is mandatory. These foods do not replace conventional treatments, but can function as adjuvants when integrated in a conscious and monitored way. You have just received information that most people will never have access to because they are trapped in superficial content that only repeats the obvious. These 3 fruits demonstrate in real scientific studies the capacity to weaken cancerous cells in less than 24 hours through specific and measurable molecular mechanisms. Now you have the knowledge. The application depends exclusively on your decision. Leave in the comments which of these 3 fruits you already consume and with what frequency. This information helps me create more in-depth content about preparations and specific protocols. If this content added real value to your knowledge about cellular health, share it with someone who needs this information.